Hello, my awesome artists, and welcome to day 6 of our 7-day February Kids Loving Kindness Challenge. Today, we're going to create our own works of art that celebrate love, kindness, creativity, and inspiration. This work of art will be inspired by the book The Dot by Reynolds. This book will help show us the power of creativity and supporting each other. Now, let's dive into the book The Dot by Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. There! Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name." The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that." She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted, a red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the yellow. She discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting, lots of little dots in many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please, sign it." Welcome back, kiddos. Did you enjoy the story The Dot by Reynolds? I personally love this story. Recap on a couple thoughts and ideas and questions after reading that book. First, let's think about Vashti's first reaction to her drawing, The Dot. How do you think she felt about her art? Do you think she felt good about it? Or did she seem disappointed and frustrated? Now, let's think about Vashti's teacher. Do you think Vashti's teacher was encouraging of Vashti to embrace her dot and keep creating? Yes, I do too. How do you think that helped Vashti's confidence throughout the story? How did it change from the beginning to the end? What were some moments that you think helped her grow? And finally, in what ways did Vashti inspire others with her artwork? Alrighty, my artists, so now what we're going to do is make our very own works of art, inspired by the dot. Did you know that there's an entire art movement dedicated to making works of art with just dots? It's called Pointillism. Check out this work of art by artist George Seurat. Did you know that this entire painting is made out of tiny dots of colors? You want to know something else super cool about this painting? It's over 10 feet wide, so that's about the size of a minivan. Think about how many dots he must have made on his painting to create such a large work of art. Look at how all the dots came together to form people, animals, trees, nature, shapes, and it all began with a dot. Alrighty, my artists, so now what we're going to do is make our very own works of art, inspired by the dot. We're going to do one quick breathing exercise before we dive into our art activity. What we're going to do is take a big, deep breath in through our nose while thinking of breathing in the color of creativity. It could be any color that you'd like. My creativity color is going to be the color orange. So I'm going to breathe in the color orange through my nose, thinking of creativity, hold it at the top, and then I'm going to exhale any tension or worries out of my mouth. Are you ready? Let's try this together. Take a deep inhale through your nose, the color of creativity. Hold. And exhale any tension or stress through your mouth. Now that we have our creativity-infused breath, let's get started. For this art activity, there is no right or wrong way to do it. I'd like for you all to really embrace your imagination and your creativity and have fun with this art activity. All I want you to do is start with a dot and then letting your imagination run wild. So for the art portion of this, what's really important is that you have fun with this. This is your own creation. So I'm going to show you just a couple things for inspiration in case you're really unsure of what to do with your dot. But you can use whatever you'd like to create this activity. So I've got markers, and I'll show you some ways to work with markers. I've got a pencil, and I'm going to show you different ways that you can work with just a pencil. And I've got some paints as well. So if I'm doing a painting, what could be fun with a dot painting is having fun playing with blending colors. So if I start with just a dot, maybe I'll start with a blue dot here. Then maybe what I can do is have fun and take this from here. So maybe I'll introduce another color, a darker blue dot. Maybe I can have fun blending the colors. Maybe I'll put some white in there and see how the paint blends in together. Can make bigger dots. Really, I'm just going to play around with the paint and have fun. Play around with different strokes. Maybe I'll have a different color in the background. Maybe I'll have half a circle or something like that in the background. So I'm building off of the dot. I'm using acrylic paints. What you can do with acrylic paints, if your brush is getting dry, you can add a little bit of water to it, but I wouldn't add too much water to it because what happens is the paint can get really, really wet. So if we're working with acrylic paints, if that's the kind of paint that you have and it's getting dry on the paper, try adding a little bit of water and then you can plot it out a little bit on a paper towel. I would definitely have a paper towel handy. And then maybe I'll make an even bigger circle over here with a green dot. I am just playing and having fun with paint. I don't know what I'm doing, there's no plan, but that sometimes is the fun part. Just playing with different shapes and colors. Maybe I'll add a lighter green. But have fun and you can blend colors and paint however you like. And then some ideas of what you could do if you just have a pencil is you can play around with shading. So I can start with a dot or maybe a circle, and maybe the center dot is really, really dark. So when I'm making a mark with a pencil, if I press in harder, it's gonna make the color darker. This could be really, really fun to play around with. So maybe I'll start with one really dark dot. And then maybe what I'll do is make a lighter dot next to it. And I'll just shade it lightly by taking my pencil and not pressing in so hard, but just kind of gently going back and forth with the marks that I'm making so that it's light. So if you just have a pencil to work with, you can really have a lot of fun with this. And maybe I will make a bigger one here. And maybe this one is a little bit darker on the edges, but gets lighter as it goes inward. So it's some shading. It's called shading. So you can really have fun playing around with that. If you have just a pencil to work with, you can make a whole drawing out of just a dot. And then if you have markers, you can start with a dot and then let it take you wherever you'd like. You don't have to start with a circle. You could actually create lines that come off of it. Maybe I want to fill this in. Maybe I'll do a couple more. That gets smaller and smaller. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just having fun with it. Making all sorts of different marks and shapes. There's no right or wrong way to do this. The important part is that you have fun with your dots. So right now I'm just kind of making lines, just playing with different ways to create art. But go ahead, start with a dot and take it from there. You can use whatever materials that you have, and the important part is that you have fun while doing so. I recommend putting some fun music on so you can really get into it. Thank you so much for joining us for day 6 of our 7-day Kids February Activities Challenge, Loving Kindness. We look forward to seeing you here tomorrow for day 7.